Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. New week, new theme, and this week we're looking at emo music. Is anybody else seeing this? What's going on with these lights? Ah! Ah! It is emo week, isn't it? The perfect time for me to come back out of the shadows and exact my revenge on that sheep who runs this channel. If anybody does see that poor excuse of a critical thinker, please let me know, so that I may become the sole host of this channel and me get true, unfiltered opinions about this music that is presented to my ears. However, first, this droll background. Much better. Greatly enjoy that. All right. Let's get into this. This is emo week, and we're listening to Sunny Day Real Estate. The track is In Circles. I really am hoping that this isn't some of that emo pop garbage that came out after the good stuff did. Let's see what Sunny Day Real Estate is bringing to the table today. Really interesting dynamics right there. Yeah. Moving bass line here as well. Some vocalization. Sort of bass driven in this section as well, which is it's interesting to note too that the bass is on the left side. Interesting too, that part is also left hands. Utilizing silence for a little bit of, a little bit of contrast there. He's going ham on that cymbal. Slides on all of these changes. I love how much movement is going on in the drums, the bass too. Everything else is very suspended. All right. Yeah, that was it was interesting because when the track first started, I thought I was in for something completely different. And by the time the chorus, the second chorus and the bridge came around, I started to make more sense of it all, and I could see where a lot of um, where it kind of fits in the larger idea of emo music. I'm curious. This says 2018 though. Is that accurate? Sunny. What is this called? Sunny Day. Oh, real estate. That's right. Oh, so they are an older band. 92 is when they started, and their latest album is 2000. It was called In Circles. Oh, so this came off their debut album. This was 90 recorded in the late 93, released mid 94. Yeah, that's very different because Apple's telling me 2018, which I think is when that music video was uploaded. Um, so yeah, this is definitely early emo, and I can, like I said, I'm kind of seeing where this kind of led to what I know of as emo, which is really interesting about all of this. A little preface for the week, I suppose, rather than just this video. Um, I grew up on mid 2000s pop emo. I think the first track I remember hearing in that was Taste of Ink by The Used, and it didn't really click with me at that point. But when I heard I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance, which I'm sure is really putting me as a fake emo kid from my teens. But anyways, uh, that's when it started to click with me, and I got into my chem stuff. And for some reason after that, oh, you know what it was? It was Take It Away by The Used that got me hooked on their stuff. And then from there I was kind of inundated with a lot of the pop emo of the time. And early emo and Midwest emo, I never heard, or maybe I don't know. There's a lot of stuff uh, about emo that I don't know. So, I would always tell them, hey, I enjoy emo music, and then they present me this stuff. I'm like, that's not what I like, And this was decades ago. Like, so it's interesting to come at it now, having a much stronger understanding of music and musical lineage, and being able to see how everything sort of influenced and moved into different subgenres and the evolution of genres. Um, and this, I think, is very interesting because there's definitely some grungy aspects to it. And I don't know how much, I mean, how much grunge kind of influenced emo or vice versa. I don't know. But how, like, I can feel grungy elements in this, but I can also feel some of that early emo pop stuff, especially early used albums. Um, I kind of feel like this is a midpoint between that. It's really interesting. Anyways, enough about me. Like I said, a little bit of a preface, me coming into this week and sort of my excitement getting to further explore and maybe hopefully more thoroughly explore a genre that I've called myself a fan of, but have never really found much in it that clicked with my very small idea of what the genre is. So, let's dive into what Sunny Day Real Estate is doing here. We have a back and forth on our verse and chorus, where our verse is quieter, calmer, and our chorus is louder, and it still introduces this high versus low though. We have a bridge that kind of digs more into both elements, the heavy and the soft, and then we have a final chorus to wrap the song up. It follows the very standard A B A B C B pattern, and does so with a ton of emotional elements to it. So let's take this bit by bit and see what's going on. In our verse, we have a very subdued uh, instrumentation. Our drums are very light, a little bit of cymbal and a sparse amount of bass and snare, mostly to emphasize beats. We have our guitar mostly jumping back and forth between like 2 or 3 notes and creating a bit of melodic movement, but not so much in a way to bring a lot of attention to it. In fact, the guitar's purpose here is mostly to lay down the key signature or the chord in a way without playing chords. So instead of strumming all the notes at one time, they'll run up the scale and run back down the scale, or run up the chord and run back down the chord. In a fashion that's like a riff. It's the same idea every repetition. However, we move the notes with the chord. The bass, though, has a moving part here in the verse, and I think it's really exciting to hear it. There is almost a bit of counterpoint going on in the bass because, of course, our lead melody here is taken by our vocals. They have prominence in the mix. They have prominence pitch-wise. They have the part with the most movement to it, but the bass is right next to it. In fact, if you take the vocals out, I would say the bass rightly takes the spotlight. And through that, we actually have a little bit of counterpoint. Now, they don't often play exactly with each other. There is a little bit of a back and forth that goes on there. It's not a call and response style of composition, but it does allow each voice, the vocals and the bass, to kind of have their own space. It isn't, like I said, it's not a perfect call and response where we have vocals, then the bass, and vocals and the bass. There's a little bit of overlap, but they also do kind of fill in each other's rests as well, so that there's always a moving element going on. And this is our verse. And, there's not much to it. It's really designed primarily, at least in my mind, to create the specific atmosphere here, to bring it down and make it very vulnerable. This is the grungy part that I'm talking about, right? You look at, this is a very popular pick, and I know I'm not really digging too deep in the barrel here, but, most of Nirvana's radio hits, they start out soft in the verse. Well, actually, just like this, kind of start out heavy in our intro, get soft in our verse, and then get heavier in the chorus. That's what grunge is to me. And again, much like early emo, grunge is a genre I don't have a lot of experience with outside of the big major hits either. So, I could be missing an entire branch of grunge music that does something very different from my understanding, based primarily on Nirvana's hits. But we move from that into our chorus. And our chorus is really neat in that we hit a new peak, but we continue this ride of this emotional ride of power and loudness and grit versus more vulnerable element. And we get that through a variety of things. On our heavier side, we have the drums, which are insane at this part. They do not quit. There's just a lot of drum hits all the time, and it really drives this song and pushes it forward. And additionally, on top of this, we also have our drummer putting on a spectacular visual performance. There are multiple moments where we have these extended cymbal hits. Maybe it's like four or five eighth notes in a row, and they're slow enough that we could just easily hit them with the right hand, but the dude goes just ham, like these massive arm movements, both arms on one cymbal for these slower hits, just to really drive home the emotive element, the aggression or the upsetness, or whatever they're really going for with this more aggressive sound, driving it home visually as well. Um, our bass is also moving quite a bit. If you can't hear it, there's a couple of really nice shots in the music video in the final chorus where they show the bassist having these really nice runs, about 6 or 7 eighth notes in a row at the end of each phrase. And once again, we have this driving momentum. And then we also have the higher pitched, not higher pitched, the louder yelling vocals in the chorus that once again provide energy and momentum and power. They keep the track going, but that's just on that end. There's also a mellow aspect to this section of the song where we have our guitar that's sort of just playing these chords and allowing them to be suspended, just hanging there, no modification to them, just letting them naturally ring. And the response to our call, where our vocalist is yelling and the other vocalist comes in with this very subdued, very calm, very comfortable, ba-da-da, just very quiet compared to all the noise around them, but also the range. Like I said, it's lower than our screamer. There's just not as much air pressure through it. There's not as much force or power. So we just have this very powerful vocal that's yelling, and uh, we do back and forth call and response on it with this very mellow one. So if our verse and our chorus and our verse and our chorus is creating these highs and lows, these peaks and valleys, we have a micro idea of that, peaks and valleys, within our chorus as well. It's very nice to have all of this contrast. And we continue with this idea into the bridge, where we introduce contrast rhythmically and sonically. We have a guitar riff. Actually, the whole band's kind of in on it, except the drums. It's like 3 notes and then a beat of silence. And the drummer always puts a cymbal hit in that beat of silence, but it provides this almost like starting and stopping, like stop and go traffic, where we feel like we're making progress through this bridge, but music bridge, and also like a driving bridge, where it feels like we're making progress through the section of the song, but every time we get a little bit of distance, we're abruptly stopped. And what's interesting too is that I mentioned that the bridge highlights both aspects of the track. This is a very driving section that carries some of the heavier, more aggressive elements of the chorus into it musically, in the bass and the drums and the guitar. However, at the end of it, we bring it all back down a little bit. And before we go back into our final chorus, we do bring back something that feels closer to the verse. I don't think we actually went into the verse. I think we just brought back that vulnerable atmosphere for like a couple of bars or something at the end of the bridge before going back into the powerful chorus again. So yeah, all across this track, there's always these microcosms of highs and lows, and how do we deal with that contrast? How often should we flip back and forth? Should we try to interweave them? The bridge is supposed to be the new aspect of the song. Which side should we showcase? Well, showcase both of them. The duality of this, of the highs and the lows, is in the very DNA of this track. It is in every single piece of it. And I really love that. Part of it is just that I love contrasting elements. I love duality in music, but also it feels very at home to me. The highs and the lows is something that, um, I've mentioned this before. Metalcore does a lot of it, and I've already brought them up. The Used, they do this often as well, especially on all of the, I was going to say especially on the early works, but no, that's just something they've always done. There's very few songs that are static as far as energy or atmosphere go. So yeah, this song feels very comfortable, very nostalgic to me, even if I've never heard it before. Well, I suppose despite the fact that I've never heard it before, it definitely is a very comfortable song for me. Now, we need to check out the lyrics and see how all of this is tied together. Also, what kind of name is Sunny Day Real Estate? I don't know. All right. Diving into these lyrics. Meet me there in the blue where words are not, feeling remains. Sincerity, trust in me, throw myself into your door. So I don't know where the blue is, but either way, this person wants to be met somewhere, is meeting somebody. Uh, Meet them in the blue where the words are not, feeling remains. So a place where there is no words, but you can still feel. Sincerity, I trust in me, throw myself into your door. Okay, well, I have some ideas about. We haven't gotten the other side of the equation yet, but this side, it seems to me, a person who wants to dive headfirst into some sort of friendship or relationship where you have such a strong connection with the other person that you don't need words. You just immediately know what they're feeling. That there's a strong sense of sincerity in there. Um, it says, I'm going to be sincere. You can trust me. I'm throwing myself into your door. Um, which could be seen a couple of different ways. I kind of viewed it as thrusting oneself wholly into a new situation, but it could also be a door that's closed. I'm throwing myself into the closed door, in which case now we have a one-sided relationship where one person wants this connection, this sincerity, just a very transparent, healthy relationship, and they want it with somebody who has their guard up. They have a wall around their heart. I don't know. The chorus says, I'll go in circles, running down in circles, running down in circles, running down in circles. Kind of leaning towards that second interpretation. Meet me there in the blue where words are not, feelings remain. Oh, I dream to heal your wounds, but I bleed myself. Okay, so we have two people who need to work on themselves, right? They both have problems that are going to hinder their ability to have a strong relationship together. One of them, our narrator, wants to fix the other person, so to speak, to help them, get over their issues, but they have their own that it's going to stop them. I want to heal your wounds, but I'm bleeding over here as well. And the rest of the track is just running down in circles, including the bridge. So yeah, I think that's it. It's about an unhealthy relationship where one person is very restrained and on guard, doesn't know how to let somebody else into their life, and the other person wants to be let into that life to help them be the best self that they can, even though they themselves need to work at growing too. They have their own problems, and it's just not going to work. The chorus says, I'll be running down in circles. I'm going to keep trying this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to try to get into your heart. You're not going to let me do it. We're going to do this game forever. It's just not a good relationship. We have possibly unrequited love. At worst, possibly at best, just somebody who's been hurt in the past and doesn't know how to open up. Um, and someone else banging their head on the wall trying to knock this wall down that the other person's put up around them. Won't let anyone in. And maybe both sides do want to make it work, but they're both, I hate using the word, but it's kind of sprung up a lot in pop culture, but they're both broken people. And maybe if they worked on themselves, they could make something good out of this, but the way that they're going about it right now just isn't. And especially if they're in a relationship and this is the current state of it, I can certainly see how the highs and lows certainly work within that context. Maybe there are good times to relationship where the wall starts to crumble a little bit and it seems like everybody's getting better. But yeah, things take time and sometimes that wall gets built back up a little bit better and people's problems begin to crop up again and well, now you're back to square one. And I can definitely see the vulnerability in the verse. Our singer says that they want feelings only. You know, we don't need words, we just need to feel each other. Sincerity, trust in me, really letting down their guard and making themselves stripped bare, showing a vulnerable side. And then we get the aggression of or maybe not aggression, frustration possibly in the yelling from the chorus, but the chorus is also both sides. We have a reluctance. I mentioned that we have the one vocal that sort of just da da da, just kind of holds those notes out. Our guitar is very suspended with these chords, just letting them hang. We have half of this relationship that is reluctant to move forward, to take the next step, where the other one, our drums and our bass and our yelling vocalist are all about that driving momentum. They want to get to that next part. They want to get through this. There is motivation on one side and reluctance on the other. I think the chorus does a good job of showcasing the emotional aspect of this relationship in music form, while the structure of the song, the highs and lows over the course of it, showcase the frustrations and possibly sometimes good elements of the relationship over longer periods of time. Yeah, pretty great song. Lines up with exactly what I would expect out of an emo track. It's a love story. It's a love song. Emo has a ton of them. I'm expecting to listen to a lot of that and probably check out a lot of songs about relationships this week. And like I said, it's kind of what I'm expecting out of the music as well. So I think this is a really good way to start the week. Even if we don't stay in this realm and we do kind of venture off into some more, I don't want to say experimental emo, but maybe bands that take that angle and run in a different direction with it. Just having this to start off the week is a really good way because to me, it solidifies what emo is in my mind. And if we stay in the realm, all right, we get to continue on and explore more ways of approaching this single style. If we branch out from it, we understand ground zero. We understand where it came from and how the new styles might relate back to us. Yeah, just a really great way to start the week. It really is. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Sunny Day Real Estate's In Circles. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this track, if you enjoyed it or not, anything that stood out to you, anything you'd like to correct me on, or just add on to what I said. Let me know. Above the comment section is a description box, and in there is a link for Linktree. It'll take you to this menu right here, which has links for everything related to the channel. You can pick up some merch. You can follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, support the channel through Patreon, and a bunch of other things. Go ahead and check it out. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Greatly appreciate all three of those. Alright, we also have a special selection today. You guys can go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, as usual. We'll be checking out more emo music and another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.